Hi guys, doing today? Happen to have a game against twitch.tv/Leafia, and I think as far as I know, looking at my computer's battle files, this is one of my last, if not my last pre-bank game I have backed up on this computer. I think I have one more, but I'm going to save that one for way long down the line. For now, it's going to be kind of sad to see Prevent go, just because, you know, there was a restrictive pool of Mons. You know, out of your 300 in the Dex, plus whatever you had in the Island Scan, you're probably looking at closer to around, like, 400 in total. So you had half the Dex available to you, and I feel like that's being a little bit adventurous with my guess there. But regardless, you got to see a lot of the same faces a few times. You kind of got to know your threats and whatnot. And then just, you know, 2 months of that, and then immediately step into the deep end. Because so the pool right now, it's like, come on in, the water's fine. And then it's like coming out of the pool and jumping, or it's like staying in the hot tub where it's nice and cozy, and you just immediately jump in the pool, which is way bigger, way deeper. You have a lot of different things to look out for, not necessarily in the pool, but you catch my drift. Hey, water joke. Anyways, we're going to jump into the game and kind of give, I guess, Prebank a proper send-off, because this is my... This is one of my last ones. So she's going to lead off with her Rhyperior. I'm going to go and lead off with my Raichu. Now, this is an interesting thing that I feel the need to discuss, because I had Hidden Power Ice on this Raichu before. But in preparation for Bank, I actually put Grass Knot on instead of Hidden Power Ice, because I feel that Raichu is not going to be OU material whatsoever. And I feel like UU might actually be a discussion, but probably I think it will ultimately fall into RU if that. The typing's nice. Electric Psychic is really cool and unique. But in terms of how its raw stopping power it has, I had Specs, and I was actually kind of scared to knock out the Rhyperior in one shot, just in case it was Assault Vest. You know, with Solid Rock and all that combined, it is a very strong move, but... You know, it is a Raichu. So I don't remember if I think I was Specs. I'm not 100%. But I doubted Raichu, and that's ultimately why I was like, you know, screw it. We'll just go with it. We'll see how much it does. And then it ended up being an easy 6-5 lead there. So... In terms of the past couple of turns, you don't need me to talk about that. You've been playing since Gen 4. You know what a Typhlosion's all about. You see a Typhlosion, it is an innocent until proven guilty standpoint. It is this thing is scarfed until I know otherwise, so I'm going to treat it as such, because Scarf is just such a damn good set on it. So I switch out to Special Defensive Porygon 2. You see the Alakazam go for Energy Ball there. I actually had to go back and watch the video and, you know, think about why that could have been. And I looked at my team preview, and I realized I have a Sharpedo on here, so that makes a lot of sense for why that would happen. But I'm not the type to immediately switch in a Sharpedo on an Alakazam, especially since they can just run Dazzling Gleam for middle ground as well. Or the Focus Blast actually would have done a pretty considerable... The Focus Blast, if anything, I don't know if she has it on her Zam, but if she did not have it, or if she didn't have Gleam, then I guess that kind of explains that. But Focus Blast would have disposed of either. And the point being that Alakazam has 3 offensive moves, meaning that there was... 3 super effective moves, meaning that there was no reason for me to switch in whatsoever. So there's a brief Porygon 2 versus Porygon 2 stint there, and similar to the Rhyperior play from earlier, I kind of give Dhelmise the short end of the stick, so to speak, with this series of events too, because I was like, you know what, Dhelmise, you totally got this. You're a physically defensive Mon with Toxic, and you know your main stab actually can't touch Porygon 2. But I just want to get the status, and I want to see how much Anchor Shot can do. Or you know what, did I have Anchor Shot? I think, or no, I do have Anchor Shot. What I'm asking is if I had Phantom Force, because I saw a different Toxic Stalling set that had Phantom Force. It might have been Anchor Shot, Phantom Force, like Toxic, and like Protect or something like that. I feel like I had both. But I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna stick it out, and you know I was at a huge disadvantage. Dhelmise deserved better. I don't know why I did him like that. That's so rude. But here's another question I have for myself. How the shit did this Porygon 2 outspeed? I could have sworn that this Marowak in particular was invested offensively. You know, 252 speed, 252 attack. In reality, I should not have gotten poisoned. Or if I had gotten poisoned, it should have been... and see, look at that. Like, I didn't do as much as I thought I was going to Porygon after the Fit Club boost. So I'm starting to wonder, like, if when I bred this thing and I leveled it up, if I just didn't EV it or whatever. That definitely could have been a possibility. I did that with the Tapu Lele I've been using in my past couple of videos was not EV'd for the first couple of games. Like, not even attack, not even speed, just nothing. Just straight up nothing. And I was just like, oh, so I need to go back through and actually check a lot of my Mons to see if I need to be EV'd, because a Porygon 2 outspeeding me is a definite red flag for why that could have been. So... just to, you know, fall back on a couple of turns and then just immediately catch up. Switches in the Alakazam's Sacrificial Pivot, brings in Sharpedo, and I had a couple people question me why I have Double Edge on this thing, and I was like, you know what, I have it because of Rock Head. And it turns out, you know what, whatever Double Edge can't really hit, Shadow Bone can kind of hit for the most part, because Ghost Fire is pretty good coverage. We already know this from Chandelure, and I think I have Earthquake as well, so I'm just kind of like, well, what else can I run on this thing? If I'm not running Fire, Ghost, and Ground coverage, what else? So I figured, you know what, we'll just run Double Edge, I guess. Even though I think Shadow Bone just has a better merit to it, I will find a different slot for Double Edge, thinking about it, because it's like a Shadow Bone after Stab is the same as a damn thing, so there's no point. It might actually even be a little bit more powerful if Shadow Bone's 85 instead of 80. I think it's one of the two, but it's whatever. I have a Beware for the Sharpedo switch in. The Mega Sharpedo now, I should say. This is Swords Dance Beware, but I don't think you actually get to see Swords Dance in this game. I'm actually only bringing this thing in right now because Fluffy will reduce the crunch down from Strong Jaw from, like, it'll cut that in half, and then it'll cut it in half again because of Resistance and Fluffy. So Crunch is not going to be doing anything. Waterfall will do a little bit more, but not enough to merit potentially taking a Hammer Arm or a Return/Double Edge. And I do have Shadow Claw on this thing, and I need to bust this thing to Disguise because people just really like bringing, you know, Mimikyu against me. So I was like, you know what? I'm staying in here. I'm going for it. I have a decent amount of HP. I really hope after the SD I should be able to take a Play Rough, unless it's Life Orb or something really scary like that, or the Play Rough could miss and I could just knock it out from there. But like I said, after lefties, I'm at full, so, you know, Fluffy cutting it in half, I'm thinking I should maybe be able to take it. I don't take it well. I never said I was going to take it well. I was just more concerned about taking it and getting damage off on it. I'm not boosted at all, unfortunately, either, so I just have to go for stock Shadow Claw. If it crit, that would have been beautiful. Then I wouldn't have had to deal with the Mimikyu anymore, but I also learned that it is Life Orb. So the thing that counts here is it's going to be taking a little bit more Life Orb recoil. And then at that point, I just have to worry about one more Life Orb hit, which I think ultimately is the important part. So, but where it doesn't really do anything except for scare away Sharpedo for a second and just, you know, kind of deal with Mimikyu, so I'm not okay, per se, with how well Beware did, but it did better than Delmai's, unfortunately. Sorry, buddy. And right here, I know I'm going to take a hit. I'm going to take a Play Rough, so I might as well just try to recover it off, see how much it does. It does a little bit more than half, but Life of Recoil is going to knock itself out, so definitely the correct play there as I get back up to close to full. I think she still has the Typhlosion as well, so me not having hazards, it means that I need to find a way to deal with that reliably. I don't know if I think she still has a... Oh, yeah, there's a Typhlosion. I was worried about the Porygon too, but P2 versus P2 is a matchup that probably shouldn't happen. Also, other side note I'm remembering, we now have access to Flash Fire Typhlosion again, thanks to Bank, so there's that. Focus Blast miss, ultimately, I don't think this is as important because A, I was at full, B, I could have switched out into Marowak after that point, assuming it was choiced, and C, you know, being special defensive, I could have recovered it off the next turn probably, or at some other point in the game, immediately on the switch, that would have been okay. As I think we saw, you know, after the recover, I was at a pretty good amount. If you doubt that a Marowak can live that Focus Blast, even a crit Focus Blast, you know, a special defensive one, I think you probably need to go check out your damage calcs and see how disgustingly bulky this thing is. Especially because I wasn't stabbed, and it especially had the chance to miss. So the odds were more or less heavily stacked in my favor, as much as it pains me to say it. I'm not going to try to justify it, but I think all of the other situations just kind of put me in a favorable spot there. I think I go for Double Edge here, actually predicting the... I think I predicted a Typhlosion to come back in for some strange reason, or slash to see how much it was going to do. In reality, I should have gone for Flare Blitz, so that was just a bit of a stupid turn on my behalf. And all we're going to see from here is just straight recovering, straight double edging, or no, straight recovering, straight Flare Blitzing for the next few turns. And the Burn Nerf, I feel the need to talk about it right now because I did get it off of the Flare Blitz, and while it is kind of cool to see come into play here, it's not helping me offensively, you know, apply pressure, because the recover is basically just breaking it even. But it means that Gutsmon's now, you know, only taking 1/16 from Burn. It means that Conkeldurr, Heracross, anything with Flame Orb, Swallow in lower tiers, all that stuff. You guys know your personal favorites with Guts, or the things that you wanted to use with either Flame Orb or Toxic Orb. Flame Orb users are now just going to have a field day. The only one that's really getting the shaft there is Ursaring with Quick Feet, which still has to run Toxic Orb. But I go for, I guess just to come back onto this, I go for Crunch, knock it out, and get my speed boost off of there. Flame Orb is a really interesting thing to look at, because a lot of stuff where I was just kind of judging whether or not I was going to run a Flame Orb or Toxic, people reminded me, wait, there's a Burn Nerf. and I was like, okay, well, you know what? It's obviously Flame Orb and everything now, so I'm really excited to use Gutsmons now, especially the ones that have Drain Punch, like Kelder and shit. Ooh, that's gonna be scary. So I Mega here, naturally. I'm faster than the other Sharpedo, and I know Sharpedo versus Sharpedo, a matchup that usually, when it happens, I think this is probably the first time this has happened to me, but it makes sense to me that the faster one wins, especially because you can get flinches like that. Now, I'm gonna be real, I went for that expecting that, but to be honest, you know, looking at how much my Waterfall is doing to her, she's doing the exact same amount to me, now without the risk of flinches whatsoever. The crunch, you know, for the special defense drop could have come into play there, but honestly, it's just, it's a pretty whatever kind of thing. On top of that, actually looking at that crunch did a decent amount of damage. I don't think Waterfall is actually kind of boosted by, no, Waterfall's not boosted by Strong Jaw either, so I don't know why I even thought about that for a split second. I should have just been going for crunches, realistically. I think that's probably my way to win out that match, because I think my crunch would have done the same amount, if not, no, I think it would have done the same amount. And I think Focus Blast misses again, but at this point, it's a question of whether or not the Typhlosion can survive with Focus Blast, and I don't think it can if it's Scarfed, because I still have a Marowak, and I can still knock it out with Earthquake. As far as I remember, I don't think my Marowak... No, wait, my Marowak died. My Marowak did die. What did I have to deal with? I had Raichu. I had Raichu to take Focus Blast if it was Scarfed, and that would have worked out okay with the T-Bolt. So, anyways, that's the end of the game. It was kind of a straightforward, no frills one, just, you know, 6 Mons just hitting each other. No real strategy inherently on either side. Just pick Mons, bring them, have fun with them, and those are the kinds of games I like, and I hope you guys had fun with it too. So, if you guys did, you can leave a like, rating, comment, subscribe, do your thing. You guys know how that works. That will do it out of me for this video, as well as most of my pre-bank videos. I may have 1 or 2 in the future. I would have to look at my versus recorder. I'm not 100% what's the situation on there. But as far as I know, like I said, this is my last one. So expect all of my other Mons to kind of come out and play. You see some new faces for those of you new to the channel. You see some old faces, those of you that are familiar with both channels. And overall, you're just going to see a lot more variety. So that'll do it out of me, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.